Artificial intelligence is changing the way salon professionals create content, but is it also causing everyone to sound exactly the same? As AI becomes more powerful, one question matters more than ever. How do you use it to save time without losing the thing that makes your business unique? I recently sat down with Modern Salon to discuss exactly that, and today I'm sharing that conversation with you. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, the podcast that helps salon owners and salon professionals grow their business, boost their brand, and stay inspired. From salon marketing and social media to leadership and growth, we uncover the strategies and stories that move the industry forward. If you love learning, growing, and are serious about leveling up your salon business and brand, you've just found your new go-to podcast. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, everyone. Today's episode is a little different. Instead of me interviewing a guest, I am the one on the hot seat. Recently, I was asked to come on to Modern Salon and conduct an interview with Anne Murato for a conversation about one of the biggest topics affecting our industry right now, artificial intelligence, right? Marketing as a whole, and how salon professionals can embrace new technology without sacrificing their authentic voice. The interview became a feature article called AI Won't Replace Your Voice Unless You Let It on Modern Salon's website. Rather than simply talk about it, I thought I would share the original interview with all of you today. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
So I had questions for you, and I'm grateful you're willing to give me a little time. You and I talked about AI, and I expressed my concern that I feel like there's this blending of voices and everyone is starting to sound the same. So I'm wondering if you're seeing that, and if you believe that beauty pros, salon owners can use AI without losing their unique voice.
I absolutely see that. And the reason is because you think of the analogy of, the whole garbage in, garbage out motto, right? So if we're all just putting in the similar input, a very basic generic input into an AI tool like ChatGPT, and saying, you know what, write me a social media post about my blonde balayage. Then if you have 5,000 stylists that are inputting a similar request into ChatGPT, it's coming out in a very generic, way, and there is a lot of similarity in those responses. And I see it myself every single day. You have to challenge, right, your AI system to learn about you. And the way that I tell people to think about it is, think of AI as your personal assistant. So if you were to hire a human personal assistant, what would you have to do, right? You have to train them, and you wouldn't just have them start at day one at 9 o'clock, show up in your office and say, write me a social media post about a blonde balayage, go. You would probably give them a whole week worth of introduction to learn about your culture, to learn about your history, to learn about your background. And then once they became kind of integrated into understanding who you are as a business, your brand identity, your brand voice that you've been using, now they will be able to essentially produce more of what you've already done. So I tell people, think about your AI tool in the same way. You need to give a lot of information to it to train it on who you are as a company. What's your brand identity? What's your brand voice? Who is your audience, right? You've got to train, like really give it the goods so that it understands how you want to communicate, who you're communicating to. And then there's a whole thing that's called prompt engineering. In bigger software companies, it's an actual job that people get paid for. They are prompt engineers, because it's how specific and detailed you are getting with your prompts that's actually going to help you produce better content. And when the AI tool comes back to you with this like first version, you challenge it back and say, you know what, that's too generic, that's not personal enough, that's not, reflecting the humor that we want to have. So you've got to kind of go back and forth and get it to learn who you are. The other thing, as part of that training, you also have to feed it examples of past, you know, writing, whether it's social media captions or newsletters or emails or whatever you have that you have created yourself, the human versions of yourself and your team. Upload that information so that the AI tool can kind of like absorb it and then produce new content that is similar to what you've had. That's how you're going to be able to get more and more personalization from the results of your AI.
Thank you. That's helpful. And I do believe that, we all go into it with our own biases, and well, those biases get baked in too. So I think that's the garbage in, garbage out. Absolutely. And I feel like the charm of an individual is sometimes lost when they've decided they need to sound like everybody else, when really what is enticing and unique and interesting about all of us is, our little quirks and foibles. So I had a question for you about, for years we've said, you need, this is to beauty professionals and salon owners, you need to diversify your digital presence and not rely solely on social platforms, which you don't own, like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. We saw all the hullabaloo around TikTok's going away, TikTok's being bought, is TikTok here. So I believe I'm preaching to the choir here about diversifying your platforms, but talk about that a little bit, about diversifying your digital presence.
I absolutely completely agree with you. And, us being in the digital space and helping salons with everything from websites to Google to social media. We do AI trainings. We're really a fully integrated, digital marketing company for the salon industry. It's critical that in any marketing strategy, if you think about it just from a pure, basic level, marketing, the key to marketing success is having one consistent message that you can deliver across multiple different touch points. And in today's society, consumers are harder to reach because there's just so many more places where they are essentially consuming content. If you go back 30 years ago, it was television, magazines, radio, and outdoor advertising, billboards or whatnot, and you could do direct mail, let's say, and that was kind of it. Now, as you mentioned, just on our phones alone, we have access and utilize maybe 5 to 6 different social media platforms, from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, X, and then we also consume emails there. We also browse the internet and go on Google and look for things. This is just on our phones. So if you're relying on just one platform, you're only on, I would even say if you're only on social media, because most people, if you're on social media, you're at least on a couple of platforms, but you're generically just posting the same stuff across, two or three platforms. You're, number one, you're missing the opportunity to touch a consumer who's maybe not there at the right time in the right place on your Instagram, or some consumers who are not on social media, still exists out there. And secondly, it's having that ownership. And we always come back to the website being the foundational piece of your marketing. It's the number one thing. If you're going to do one thing in marketing, get yourself a proper website that you own, because you control 100% of the image, of the text. You can make it look and feel like your brand identity. Whereas when you're on a social media platform like Instagram, TikTok, everyone's profile looks the same because you're under the the boxed square system, and you can fill in 200 characters of a little description here, and you can put a picture in that little round circle in the top left corner. But everyone's looks the same, whereas your website is you, and that's where people are going to get the real impression about who you are. So and again, you own the website, whereas, as you said, the social media platforms, I think the TikTok scare is a reality that's good for people to recognize. Like, stuff could go away, could get taken away either by government intervention or just it's no longer cool. When Elon Musk purchased Twitter, there was a big backlash, and nobody saw that coming. But all of a sudden, it goes into private control, and people can redirect how the platform is going to look. And you have to be really conscious of those, and as a result, make sure that you have a presence across multiple platforms. It's your best way to reach consumers. You just want to make sure that your message is consistent across all those different platforms.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. So my last question for you, and thanks for letting me flip the tables here. My last question for you is, when we were talking, you did reference ChatGPT, but is that your favorite AI to use? Did you have a favorite LLM or a favorite platform?
The platform that I use the most is ChatGPT. That's kind of been the tried and true. It was sort of the first one that came out, so I got into it very early on and started to try some other ones as they were released, whether the Gemini or Copilot, and they even had different names. Gemini used to be called Bard, and I would do the same projects. I think this is a good way. This would be my advice to somebody: is maybe pick two or three if you want, if you're just starting to get into it, and ask the same project or prompt, right, into two or three different ones, and see what comes out of it, and see what you like. There's been a huge wave in the last few months towards Claude by Anthropic. It's actually now the most downloaded AI LLM out there, more than ChatGPT. There's a whole backstory as to why that is. But I know more and more people who have started using it as a result of kind of the social buzz around it. And it's gotten me to start dabbling a little bit also. I've been tried and true with ChatGPT for several years. But there are some interesting aspects to it. So I do like having a backup available, because sometimes for certain projects also, some of the tools are better than others. So some are better at research. If you're asking it to, find stuff from the internet, I find that Gemini, which is by Google, is actually the best because it's tied to Google intrinsically. Whereas just if you wanted to develop content, you want to like write emails for you or write social media captions for you, I have found that ChatGPT is strongest there for the writing portion. But I have a friend that uses now Claude to kind of produce examples. If you want to build sort of systems and structures and tables and charts and whatnot, it might not be ChatGPT that's the best for that. So I would recommend people, based on what you're asking for, test it out in a couple of platforms, and you'll quickly get a sense of which one is delivering you the best results, and then you can kind of stay with that as your loyal favorite.
Thank you for that tip on Gemini. Honestly, I'm going to take that away and jump into that right away. I've used Claude. I just feel like I've taught Chat so much more about me, that I'm not sure I can start over. It's like a new relationship.
Well, yeah, but again, if you have now, granted, the AI tools, work way faster than a human, but if you've invested time in training, a new assistant, employee, and they get
Right.
you, they know you, and they're delivering great results for you, then you don't need to change often.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And as I said, I'm pulling things out, taking it away, and I'm going to implement right away.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for asking me, Anne.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed having it with Anne. If there's one message I'd like to leave you with, it's this: AI is not your competitive advantage. You are. Okay, never forget that. Your experiences, your personality, your client relationships, your perspective, and the way that you communicate are things that no technology can replace. AI is simply a tool that can help you express those things more efficiently, but only if you take the time to teach it who you are. As I mentioned in the interview, the mistake many people are making is treating AI like a vending machine instead of a personal assistant. So the salon professionals who will benefit most from AI won't be the ones who rely on it the most. They'll be the ones who combine, right, this smart technology with their authentic human connection. I really want to thank Anne Morato and everyone at Modern Salon for inviting me to be part of this conversation and for continuing to spark important discussions that are helping to move our industry forward. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you using AI in your salon or business? What's working well for you? What are you struggling with? What challenges are you running into? What questions do you have? We have an AI training specifically designed for salon professionals. You can find it on our website. I'd love for you to send me a message on social media or by email with any of your thoughts, questions around AI. This is a burning topic. So on social media, it can be found at salon.s.o.s, or you can always email us info@salonsos.ca. I genuinely enjoy how you are putting these ideas into practice. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional and rate the show on Spotify or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonus.s.o.s or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.